This video was produced based on an article by Ling Shan Hermit. All rights reserved. Any infringement will be prosecuted. In Charlie Chaplin's 1921 cinematic gem, The Kid, there unfolds a scene of intrigue. Chaplin finds himself in the midst of a dream, one where he has ascended to a paradise-like domain. Here, joy permeates every corner. Song and dance are the order of the day, and all the inhabitants are adorned with angelic wings. Alas, this idyllic period is ephemeral. As the heavenly gatekeeper succumbs to sleep, devils stealthily infiltrate the blissful crowd, awaiting opportunities to stir trouble. A young couple arrives on this stage. The young man temporarily departs, leaving the girl alone. Chaplin, who is seated not far off, watches this scene unfold. One of the devils spots the girl and discerns her underlying desire, an ambition to validate her charm. Taking advantage of her vulnerable state, he whispers sweet nothings into her ear, instigating her to attempt to seduce Chaplin. Initially, Chaplin seems resilient, immune to the girl's advances. Yet, the devil is equally adept at understanding the desires that stir within a man's heart. A few whispers into Chaplin's ear are all it takes to fan the flames of desire within him. Falling prey to the devil's machinations, he begins pursuing the girl. What transpires henceforth is far from the beautiful narrative that preceded it. You see, this is the quintessential process of our fall from grace. As our mindfulness starts to wane, the devil seizes the opportunity to infiltrate our psyche. When we embark upon our journey of spiritual cultivation, the devil frequently whispers into our ears words that only we can hear. Why exert yourself so, he'd coax. You can afford to slacken your pace. Take a breather. What harm could a small deviation do, he'd encourage. You can always repent afterward. You are truly remarkable, he'd flatter. You've managed to see through my deception. You're incredibly astute. And most dangerously, you're undertaking this for the sake of the Dharma, not for personal gratification. Once you start believing these whispers, the seeds of your downfall have already been sown. There was a time when I basked in an aura of self-contentment, the world seemingly favoring me with all its bounties. Everything was mine for the taking. Life was simply splendid. Gradually, I began to let down my guard, my former diligence replaced by complacency. The devil had started whispering into my ear, as I allowed myself to relax, to enjoy the fruits of my spiritual endeavors. Certain aspects of my life began to lose their firm footing. It was not until certain events transpired that I was jolted awake, leading me to the stark realization that the period I had once considered my golden era was, in fact, the true obstacle in my path. What do we conventionally perceive as obstacles? Losing a job, or a partner leaving us for someone else? The genuine hurdles are often those that lull us into a false sense of comfort. It's akin to lying in a warm bathtub, a state of drowsy contentment. Those incidents that jolt us out of this cozy complacency can indeed be the most sublime blessings. Certain occurrences have the potential to shatter your illusions, to yank you out from the warm bathtub and thrust you into the harsh Arctic blizzard. Such experiences can be the most extraordinary blessings. Of course, it's understandable that not many would welcome such blessings. There was a period in my life where I encountered what I'll refer to, for now, as obstacles. At the time, I genuinely perceived them as hurdles. Most people would probably agree with that sentiment. Yet, it was these very impediments that prompted me to take a long, hard look at myself. I must have erred somewhere, somehow. To have arrived at this juncture, I began examining my thoughts, words, and actions, rectifying my behaviors, and renouncing certain activities. If such challenges led you to genuinely scrutinize and transform yourself, they ought to be regarded as blessings. However, we often find ourselves in a hurry to escape these blessings. Subconsciously, we yearn for a life devoid of disruptions, akin to luxuriating in a bathtub filled with warm water. We are reluctant to weather storms. To extricate ourselves from such situations, we engage in various spiritual practices, praying to our gurus in the hope of restoring normalcy, of returning to the comforting warmth of our metaphorical bathtub. Most people would not readily admit that they undertake spiritual practices with such mundane objectives in mind. They deceive themselves. More likely, it's because they never really find the time to introspect deeply. A superficial approach to spiritual cultivation seldom provides the opportunity to glimpse one's true inner state. Upon closer introspection, it's clear how dearly we cherish our cycle of existence, or samsara. We strive to preserve and renovate it, hoping to erect a refuge through Buddhism where we can temporarily escape the harsh realities of samsara. This essentially defines our spiritual cultivation. Do you offer daily prayers to your guru? What do your prayers encompass? Health, wealth, the affection of those you are fond of, perhaps a promotion or raise at work? Are these not efforts to refurbish your samsara? Would you ever pray to your guru for a complete loss of your possessions? Certainly not. If you were to lose a considerable sum of money on the stock market, you'd undoubtedly perceive it as an obstacle. You would be filled with worry and distress, but never would you joyously ring up your guru, exclaiming, "Wonderful! I've lost so much money. Thank you for your blessings." Instead, you would likely spend more money seeking the prayers and blessings of monks in an effort to recover your lost fortune. Generally speaking, when everything is going smoothly, we lack the motivation for self-examination. An absence of difficulties does not aid you in understanding the nature of samsara. On the contrary, it immerses you deeper into it. Those events that help you truly recognize samsara and understand yourself are often the ones you dislike. When such incidents occur, we typically label them as obstacles. We categorize those experiences that disrupt our comfortable cycle of existence as hindrances. We resist them, strive to keep them at bay, hoping that with the prayers and blessings of monks, these misfortunes, yes, we refer to these blessings as misfortunes, will swiftly pass. We crave a state where everything is under control, where life is serene and carefree, where we luxuriate in the warmth of our metaphorical bathtub. We resent being yanked out from this comforting warmth and thrust into a stormy blizzard. Yet, the most genuine blessings often manifest in exactly this manner. As Chögyam Trungpa Rinpoche once said, the duty of a Dharma protector is to ensure you're on the correct path. If you deviate, they will guide you back. I may not remember his exact words, but the sentiment remains the same. Buddhist practice is not entirely a self-driven journey. For certain practitioners who meet the prerequisites, Dharma protectors are constantly vigilant, much like a shepherd overseeing his sheep. Unless you're entirely abandoned, they will in various ways make you aware of your missteps. They will shake you vigorously, until you awaken. Yet, we often misconstrue such harsh awakenings as obstacles. When confronted with such obstacles, we are prone to fear and concentrate exclusively on self-preservation. It is when I begin to defend myself that real obstacles emerge. I lose sight of my original intent. You too may lose sight of your grand objective, your bodhisattva. In the throes of self-preservation, your sole aim becomes self-protection, returning your surroundings to normalcy, making everything seem under control, making everything look all right. During this process, your grand aspirations are eroded away. You begin to focus only on yourself. You start concerning yourself with the minor things, like a general meant to command thousands of troops, but now reduced to brawling with foot soldiers. Your focus is scattered, your attention diverted. You start defending a non-existent self. And it's these actions that disrupt your spiritual practice. As a practitioner, you'll encounter numerous obstacles. Some are readily recognizable, others are more elusive, and many obstacles present themselves with an allure that invites you to embrace them. You might find yourself entwined in a dance with these barriers, lost in their allure. If you manage to see through and overcome these obstacles, even more formidable ones await. In the film Little Buddha starring Keanu Reeves, after Prince Siddhartha vanquishes the armies of the devil, the storm subsides and everything seems to regain tranquility. In the pool of water before him, his reflection appears, the final ruse of the devil. This reflection, bearing an uncanny resemblance to Siddhartha, declares, "I am you." Siddhartha sees through the devil's trickery and doesn't fall for it. "You are not me," he responds, causing the devil to vanish. For Buddhists, the ultimate and most formidable obstacle is the belief in an ego, followed by the conviction that everything else also has an ego. Every mountain, every river, every color, every object, and even every posture and movement has a name. Every sound carries its own definition. Each scent, each flavor, each tactile sensation, and each thought is defined and conceptualized by our mind. This is the greatest obstacle and the king of all demons. It is the most elusive barrier, the greatest of all bosses, far more potent than the entry-level devils whispering in our ears.